All right, everyone. So, according to Game Rant, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launch numbers fall short of Battlefield 6 on Steam. Although Call of Duty Black Ops 7 managed to get a decent player count on Steam at launch, its peak launch count still fell short of Battlefield 6's 24-hour peak on Valve's platform. As of this writing, the 24-hour peak player count for Call of Duty Black Ops 7 stood at 87,882, or roughly a third of Battlefield 6's 24-hour Steam total. While Activision's latest entry launched over a month after Battlefield 6 went live, Black Ops 7's launch also coincided with a major update to Call of Duty Warzone. However, the arrival of Black Ops 7 has not exactly gone to plan for Activision, as the game received a mixed player rating on Steam and is currently sitting at 58% positive reviews. Additionally, Black Ops 7 was review bombed on Steam after players aired their grievances with the game's campaign mode, which requires a consistent internet connection and does not include a pause function. Players' complaints were also targeted at Activision's alleged use of AI artwork for Black Ops calling cards. Black Ops 7 initial player count falls short of Battlefield 6 on Steam. That's the other headline. So it shows here that the player count for it, it says, this is, I'm trying to figure out what day this would have been taken. It looks like on the 15th. 87,595 were on at that time. 24-hour peak was that. And the all-time peak, oh no, that's okay, that's 3 years ago. So that's counting all of them. Battlefield 254,347 were playing at that point. So that's a big difference, right? That is a big difference. I, I just at the end of the day, right? I really think this is all messaging. And look, I love Battlefield. I think Battlefield 6 is great. I also think Call of Duty Black Ops 7 multiplayer is great. But it's all in the messaging and in being able to tell your fan base that we're going to deliver what you want. And the problem with Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is look, I like the changes they made to the matchmaking. Right? I think they're good. I think they work. I like the fact that there seems to be a lot of weapons that are usable in this game. Right? It's not a situation where there's only a few weapons that you could use. Right? That's not what we're looking at here. But when you have a campaign mode that's as bad as it is, when you wait until a couple of days before launch to say, "Oh, and by the way, we're going to have a SBMM mode," when you know that's what people don't actually like at the end of the day, well, what exactly do you expect? This is what you get. This is what you get. And this is just the bottom line is you have to find a way to fix this, right? It's sad because this was a once, like I said, once great franchise, and I don't think the game when I played online is horrendous. I don't think it's unplayable. It doesn't. I've been playing it since launch all the time, right? I've been playing it over Battlefield right now instead of playing Battlefield Red Zek when I was playing. I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'm going to be going back and playing, I'm going to be playing both of them at some point. I just wanted to get through Battlefield or Call of Duty first. But man, it's quite shocking. And there were even some articles I read before that people expected Call of, and I get this is just Steam numbers too. So I'm not saying this is, because there are other ways people are playing this game. So maybe, right, overall, you could still make the argument. I don't know if you can or not in terms of which one was more. But I'm just going off of kind of the general sentiment of both these games. Because remember, Battlefield 6 got review bombed too. I don't know actually know what they're sitting at now. Let me look. Uh, what is their game? It's mixed. Recent reviews are mixed. Overall, mostly positive, but then the recent reviews are mixed. But a lot of that has to do with the VR and in that whole change, right? So a lot of that I think you can kind of brush away as might be something different, right? Yeah, I don't think the same complaints are sitting there with Battlefield that we have with Call of Duty. So Call of Duty just has to look in the mirror and they have to say, we listened to our fans on the matchmaking and it kind of, it kind of saved a lot of what we were trying to do, right? It saved for the beta that from being a complete flop that nobody cared about. And then we sort of, walked it back, but not completely, right? Well, actually, they didn't walk it back because they did implement what they were gonna say, but they should have just said what they were gonna say from the jump instead of waiting like they did until the end, right? They waited until right before to say, "Oh, yeah, by the way, we're gonna have this other mode," and people didn't like that. So you listen to them on that, it worked out well for you. Listen to people on the other one. Go back and play World at War, right? If you're working on this game, right? If you know, go back and play World at War, Call of Duty 4, and get that vibe that they have there. When I boot up Battlefield 6, I feel like I'm playing Battlefield 3 again. I feel like I'm playing Battlefield 2 again in a sense. That's what people wanted from Battlefield, and that's why I understand there's a mixed review now, but the truth is that's all because of, people a little bit upset with things with the battle or the not the battle pass with the battle royale, people not wanting it. And I think the battle royale is good for the record, but that's why the mixed reviews is there. But for Call of Duty, go back and play those old games and deliver us that again. Get a historian in there, right? And say, look, we're going to make a game, if it's World War II, whatever war you decide to do, we're going to make a campaign that plays like you're reading a history textbook, just like they did with the World at War, where they're telling you you're about to do this battle, right? And you feel it while you're playing the campaign. Or how about in Call of Duty 4, they had after you beat the campaign, you could go back through and, like, it was like kind of an arcadey thing, and you try to get a higher score. How about that? That was pretty cool. Or really, just figure out something. Even just to throw it out there, even what if you made more of an open world style campaign mode? They did this whole thing with Warzone. Why don't you try something like that with the campaign, right? And let players have fun with it. If you're going to put no effort into it, you might as well not even put it in the game, because you're getting this kind of rating on Steam for that. Bottom line. And I haven't played zombies yet either, so we'll see. But we want to exist in a world like it was back in the day where you had Battlefield, you had Call of Duty, they were really battling it out. It was just two good games outdoing each other. And I think there's a foundation here to build on to get us back to that with Call of Duty. But it's got to be in that next game now. You have to find a way, and we'll see if they do. So thank you all for watching.